Stote and welcome to James and Friends. Today we're joined by Uwe from the Fraunhofer Institute. Uwe, pleasure to talk to you. We were talking before we started the cameras rolling about the unique position that Fraunhofer Institute is in with respect to new technologies and how they're developed. Tell me a little bit about the activities that you're doing in the A.M.E. space.
So good morning and nice to be here. Then, let's start with this topic. So Fraunhofer is a big research society. We have more than 76, I think 78 different institutes working on different fields. And IKTS is the biggest research institute for ceramic materials, technologies, and also applications where ceramic materials are used. And so I think we are more than 800 people on 4 different sites, and in different departments and groups we are working on different topics, and together we generate a unique team of experts from different fields. And also for this topic, A.M.E., we generate something new by compiling experts from additive manufacturing of ceramics, experts from materials for electric and electronic materials, experts for deposition technologies of these or for these materials, and together we try to bring everything together to generate components with a unique combination of properties.
Yeah. And when you look at that, and it's really interesting, and I think of the Fraunhofer as being very inclusive and very holistic in its approach. Are you looking at the entire ecosystem, or is there a greater focus on materials, on process, on equipment? And specifically in your group, is it much more about materials than the other elements?
Mm-hmm. So let's start with my group. My group is called Additive and Hybrid Manufacturing. So we are working on 6 different additive manufacturing technologies for ceramic materials, but also on hard metals and also glasses. And we have a focus on material development for additive manufacturing, as well as technology development for the different devices we use, and process development, especially thermal processing, and so on. And in other groups, they have much more focus on special materials and the thermal treatment of these materials and optimization of the properties. And other groups are responsible for the infrastructure which is needed for the thermal processing, or the infrastructure which is needed for characterization in every stage of the process chain. And so we have a complete holistic approach. And if there's a topic which we cannot work on in our institute, then we have a big network of partners which are used to solve problems or tackle challenges.
Yeah, and bringing those partners into the Fraunhofer team makes it very, very valuable. And when you talk about partnership, that kind of brings us neatly onto our next topic, which is the J.A.M.E.S community. It's very important to have these communities where engineers can take a agnostic approach and can talk about their experiences and share the challenges they've had and be able to communicate, and they can also see case studies and perhaps different papers from people like you. How did you get involved in J.A.M.E.S, and what's your kind of view on how that community operates within a space like A.M.E. and how useful that is?
I think first contact was 2 years ago. So my colleague Paul was on a fair and met the people of J.A.M.E.S, and afterwards he came to me and asked me what I'm thinking about a collaboration with J.A.M.E.S, and I liked the deal very much from the beginning, because we are experts for materials, for technologies, and but on the other hand, what's missing in our team is the idea what's needed outside in the industry or in other research institutes which are responsible for the application. And to avoid that we are only doing research for our own, it's very important to get feedback. Yeah, so this is an idea I like very much, and but this is a way. No, it's not necessary now, or it's for us. It's too far. We need this topic to be solved or worked on, and so the feedback from experts for applications is very important for us. To decide which projects we want to do in the next months and years.
Yeah, it's huge, isn't it? And blue sky research is wonderful in of itself because it brings out some ideas that perhaps normally wouldn't come when it's completely demand driven. But at some point, you have to find those killer applications that really drive an industry and really drive a technology, and having a connection to the marketplace and to the people that will be the eventual users of the technology is hugely valuable. The AME industry is kind of off the launch pad, but it's still at a very early stage. When you look to the coming months and years, maybe the next 1 to 5 years, what do you expect from the industry? How steep an uptake do you expect, or do you think there needs to be some kind of killer application or some specific need that only AME can solve to really get it to take off?
So I think I do not know if you're familiar with the Gartner hype cycle. So at the beginning, everybody was telling, additive manufacturing will solve all problems and no other manufacturing technology will be needed anymore. But then
the valley of disappointment.
Comes because it's not possible to solve every problem and to do everything. But now we are starting, and some of our partners are working with additive manufacturing to generate first products. And for ceramic, we are, I think, 10 years behind metals and maybe 20 to 30 years behind polymers. And because we have a very complex process chain, and the final sintering of the components shows every defect which is inside the component. So that's why it's very challenging, but it's possible to generate products. And now we need time and a lot of education and case studies and best practice examples to show what's possible with this. We can integrate functionalities, we can miniaturize components, we can use ceramics in applications where only metals or polymers were used. And now it's our focus to bring this knowledge and ideas to the big community, and then they should come to us with their ideas, and together we will think about how we can solve it. If it's possible now, or what we have to develop in the next months and years. And therefore, the J.A.M.E.S community is a big benefit and platform for us to show the world what's possible, and hopefully to generate a lot of exciting projects in the future.
Yeah, those exciting projects will absolutely come through collaboration. When you look at the application of AME, you've got a lot of experience of the application of different technologies in Fraunhofer. What do you think are the maybe the key industries or the key subject matter cases or applications where it can really be useful? Where does it really excite you in its application?
This is not so easy to answer question, because we speak about components which we do not have in mind together. So we only have small ideas what will be possible in the future, and So I think additive manufacturing and also additive manufacturing of electronics can end in disruptive new development. But in which areas, it's hard for me to say. But at the beginning of the development of additive manufacturing, most people speak about rapid prototyping. It was the idea to realize components in an easy and fast way. But in the last years, it changed. So we are now thinking about components with geometries which cannot be realized in another way. And so we have this combination of different functionality in one component, not only the geometrical functionality, but also the by a combination of different materials, and so combining different properties in one component. And I think we will work on miniaturization of components, also on the optimization and disruptive increasing of properties for special applications. And yeah, but it's hard to tell you
where it's going to go. No, I think it's really interesting, and it's also exciting. And as you say, there are those rapid prototyping opportunities, but I think more importantly, it's those things that can only be made using AME technology that will really elevate the industry and help tell the story. And it is a new design thinking, and that's why education of the market becomes really important, and communities like J.A.M.E.S become really important. So exciting times ahead. Uwe, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being a friend of J.A.M.E.S. We really appreciate that, and look forward to a continued conversation in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.